Garoppolo. Thrown down. Brian Burns gets there. Spider-Man.
What a pass rush by Burns. See how quickly he got to the edge and got
This is Desmond Johnson on the Bleav and Carolina Panthers podcast, here on the Bleav Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network for professionals. Do you Bleav? If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate the show on iTunes. We're available in your favorite directories: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Luminary, and TuneIn. You can also find us at Bleav.com and at Bleav Podcast on Twitter. And welcome into a brand new edition of the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast. I am your host, Desmond Johnson, joined by Carolina Panthers Sports Illustrated beat writer Schuyler, Callihan, and the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. You can catch us every week in season. You can catch the video on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Of course, you can catch the audio over on Bleav Podcast Networks, from which we are powered by. You can participate in the show like some of our fans are doing right now. Edward Moore checking in, as is Jamie Revis. Good to see you guys. Some familiar faces from last season that found us. Definitely spread the word about the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast and tell your fellow Panther fans about us. We're here each week to give you the lowdown previews and reviews on the games, anything else going on around the world of NFL, and of course everything going on with the Panthers on the eve of training camp down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, good old Wofford College. Schuyler's been down there today. He'll give us a heads up on what he saw during what's the official arrival day, I guess is what it's called today.
Report day.
Yeah. So we'll get some insight on that. First practice is tomorrow morning. So Schuyler will be back down there. I'd imagine they're going early to avoid some heat, but I don't think they're going to be able to avoid too much. 10:50. So 10:50 in the morning tomorrow, they'll be out there doing their thing. Got a loaded show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about this whole NFL running back devalue situation, since we've got an all-time great sitting here with us with Jay Stu. He can talk to us about the running back perspective. We touched on it a little bit last week, but some things have gone down since last time we were on. So we'll talk a little bit about that. A little bit of thoughts around the NFC South. Get a chance to look and see what the other teams have been doing, see how we gauge up against them. And we had been off the air, episode 2 of season 4. So we weren't on when the Ring of Honor recipients were announced with Moose Muhammad and Julius Pepper. So we'll get our thoughts on that. Of course, Stu played with both of them. Before we get into anything else, though, I was reminded I did not read the Bet Online copy from last week. So for Bet Online, I know, man, I'm slipping. Bet Online is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get your latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available for play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. And where we start is where we kind of left off last week. We were kind of crunched for time. We got a little bit more space to talk about it today. And it's this whole NFL running back situation. And of course, I'm gonna let my man Stu lead off this discussion, because it actually was your tell 'em all mad from last week, and I agreed with you. And leading the pack, Saquon Barkley was kind of threatening to hold out from the Giants at that point last week. He had I think a franchise tag of like $10 million. And then lo and behold, this morning I wake up, turn on Get Up, and Saquon Barkley has signed a deal, a 1-year deal. I wasn't even aware you could do this with a franchise tag, but apparently it's a rule that's tucked in there that's rarely used, that they can sign a 1-year deal after the deadline's passed. The deal, I believe, is for like $11 million. So a little bit more than what the franchise tag was. Stu, walk us through this. Like, what do you think was going through Saquon's mind to sign? He was there at 8:00 this morning at Giants training camp, first day. So what do you think happened between last week when we were on and today?
Knowing Saquon, man, he's a team guy. And so, like, I just don't understand why his team can't see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly he is the biggest asset that you have on your team, but here you are not trying to pay him. So him signing today, really just sets the tone for the team. It's saying, look, guys, I'm not going to be the reason why we're not in the playoffs next year. You know, this training camp stuff, man, that you bond with guys. There's a lot of chemistry building during those sessions. And just going through the grind together. A lot of chemistry building. And so, I mean, you know, I see it as him just, you know, doing this for the team and him just showing the fact that, hey, it's in God's hands at this point.
Yeah, it did feel like it was kind of a win-win, I guess, for both sides. Somebody put up a post. I need to really check this out because, you know, people would be throwing up memes and sometimes they aren't true.
Yeah, man, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, this is what, like, he's banking on himself, like he always has, like he always has. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go out there and ball out, and then all I'm gonna do is just stay healthy. And
So I wanted to go
pay me, or someone else is going to pay me.
Yeah, and that's that. See, and the Giants again. We said this last week. The Giants knew his day was coming. They drafted him in the top 10. Like they knew. This wasn't like a surprise. Like, oh no, we all of a sudden nobody told us we have to pay him 10, 12, 14 million dollars. So they're looking at the highest paid running backs in 2023. So for this upcoming season, right? So Christian McCaffrey, of course, number one, 16 million. We've all been on record to say that we felt like that's still a steal for C-Mac because he's kind of more than a running back, and he kind of proved that. With his time here and, of course, in San Francisco last year. Alvin Kamara at 15, Derrick Henry at 12.5, and then it starts to level out, really. Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Saquon now, and that might be the tag number. I don't know if they've updated that from today. So
That's
11, right?
That's what he signed for. That was the tag. That was the tag.
Okay.
I believe. I think he signed for 11, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he got a signing bonus or something today, and that pushed it to the 11. And then, of course, Josh Jacobs, who's also, I assume, still out. He was the other running back that was kind of tentative. The tags on him. They didn't get a long-term deal put together. Who is James from Arizona? Who's James?
James Conner, probably.
That's kind of disrespectful.
James Conner?
James Conner. James Conner's making something. It's kind of disrespectful, Yahoo. You just left my man's whole last name off. Like, we don't even know it. And then look at who's there at number 10. Really the last running back that signed here in this offseason. Our very own Miles Sanders from the Panthers, $6.4 million. I know there's a lot of people out there like, we got a deal. But look at the depressed market. Like, Schuyler, what are your thoughts on this? Like, reporting on this? Like, we're seeing wide receivers getting 25 million plus a season right now, like the top 5 or 6. Why do you think there's such a huge discrepancy in these positions?
I mean, we're in an analytics-based world now, right? And that's what GMs are all about. They're all about the numbers and all about the data. And when they look at these numbers, they're going to look at how long can a player stay in the league. If we're just going based off of the analytics, they're going to tell you that running back position is one of the most short-lived positions in the NFL. That's just the way the numbers speak. But what those numbers don't account for is a guy like Christian McCaffrey or a guy like Alvin Kamara or Derrick Henry. Those guys are completely different from the other 95% of running backs that ever make it into the NFL. So I don't understand why there's such a discussion when it comes to whether or not these guys should get paid. I mean, they are literally the lifeblood of their team. If you take Derrick Henry off the Titans, I'm sorry, but they're a rebuild team to the fullest. Like, there's no way that they're competitive. You take Christian McCaffrey off the 49ers, like, they still got a lot of pieces, but he's that piece that could be what takes them over the top. Okay. And you could say probably the same thing about Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. You take him off the Saints, I mean, that's a whole different situation with that offense. So I think, and even when Christian was here, I mean, you saw the year he had 1,000 and 1,000. I mean, that's only been done 3 times. So, I mean, it's, in my mind, it's ridiculous. If your best player is a running back, you pay him like he's your best player. I don't care what position he plays. But we've got kickers out here, and no disrespect to some of the best kickers out there, like Justin Tucker and so on and so forth. These guys are only in the game maybe 5-6 times the entire day.
Don't get touched.
And meanwhile, these running backs are getting all these
This
bumps
is
and bruises and
down
30
to,
carries and taking all these hits. Yeah, they're getting paid less.
this is what it really comes down to. The NFL, the game of football, it's a physical, unpredictable sport because of the ball carrier. If you are running the ball, that's the only time that the game is unpredictable. And that's the only time in the game that things get really exciting. Running, like the passing game, we know that's all about scoring points, but it's predictable. Like without the running back position, this game is just watching guys play catch. Okay. And so I don't know what
I don't want to see that.
What people they're not seeing the value. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost saying like if you really ball out for 2 years, you're worn down. But because you balled out for 2 years, that's what makes you a really good running back. So which one is it?
It's the chicken and the egg type thing, like which came first. Because it's like earlier today, I was trying to figure out the last running back that like held out and it worked. Like, you know what I mean? Like it worked out in the running back's favor. And I landed on Emmitt Smith, like 92. You remember that? Like they had just won a Super Bowl. He wanted more money. Jerry said no. He sat out like the whole preseason and like the first 2 weeks of the regular season. The Cowboys lost both of those games. By Monday, Emmitt was signed. Emmitt was in the building, and they rattled off like 11 straight or something and went on and repeated. But that was 92. That was over 20 years ago. Well, 30 years ago. Like, I mean, and even then, you're talking about Emmitt was probably talking about, I need to go look at the numbers, but it wouldn't in 1992. I mean, it probably was what, like 14, 15 million, like for a couple of years or something. Like it would have been some kind of really crazy number. But it's about Emmitt Smith. That's the all-time leading rusher in NFL history, and he had to fight for his. So it's like, I think, honestly, I blame the media. I blame the media for some of this because I feel like the media has diminished that role more than anybody else in terms of, and Schuyler, I know you're in the media. I'm not talking about you, but like in general, like I think how many times have we heard, and Stu, you mentioned this last week, where it's like the fan base, they're like preconditioned to be like, oh, we can just go get a running back in the mid rounds, the 4th round, 5th round, throw him in there, and he'll be just fine.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic. Like,
and two, with the whole like this running back's got X amount of miles on him and stuff, and if that's the one reason why you're being so hesitant, well, isn't that an organizational thing? Like, if he's got too much mileage on him and you're the one that put the mileage on him, that sounds like a you problem, not a him problem.
Or figure out a way to protect the running back.
Yeah, let's not get him hit so often. Let's do that. Plus, it sounds like, just from what you said, it sounds like you owe that dude money because he's been taking hits for the past 2 years. So it's like it goes both ways. I'm just like, Saquon Barkley. You take Saquon Barkley off the Giants. Do you think the Giants win 5 games?
No.
See,
they got a defense, but they got to score points.
Daniel Jones plays well when Saquon is in. He does not play well when Saquon is out. And Daniel Jones just got a bag. So
yeah, he just got a bag.
What are we doing?
Saquon was looking at that bag. I was like, man, you really
what? Give me
what
some
about
of
me? What about
me? So like it's crazy to me how it is, and I think it's because we've seen like last year with the Chiefs, right? So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is their main running back, right? He was drafted, I think, like 1st round, 2nd round. He got most of the carries past couple of years. He goes down, I think, injured, and you get this Isaiah Pacheco guy that comes in, late round pick,
who was a straight dog.
Just killing him in the playoffs. Like he had that hunger burst. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I got to get it. Yeah. So you see that, and you're like, oh well, hell, they got Pacheco in the 6th round or whatever. Why are you going to spend the money on that? To me, I'm looking at like, well, what does it matter if you got him in the 6th round? If he's going to be good for the next 2-3 years, you still got to pay him. You still got to pay him in the end. So what does it matter?
You know what my answer to that is? Well, you got Brock Purdy in the 6th or the 7th round.
Are you going to cheat him? Are you going to be all like, well,
that's not going to happen. That's going to be a success story like no other. Like,
yeah. He about to be the Kurt Warner of 2023. Like just he's gonna rewrite everything. But yeah, so I mean, with that, I don't know. All the running backs kind of got together and spoke on a Zoom or something a couple days ago. That's why I was kind of surprised Saquon signed it. But to Stu's point, it was probably Saquon's decision. Like, I want to be there with my guys, not so much for the front office, but the dudes in the trenches with him. Like, he wanted them to see him there day one, regardless of what's going on with his contract. He's still getting his money, but the fact that these running backs aren't getting the same as the wide receivers, where the wide receivers might touch the ball 6, 7, 8 times a game. If you're like the number one dude that's getting targeted, like in a contest, they're hardly touching the ball at all. They're out on the island. The running back is getting the lead back. He's probably getting 20 carries a game. So I mean, what are we doing? Like, are they scared of? Do you think McCaffrey broke the system? Because that was the last big one, and that was 2020.
I think it was starting to be
a little.
Ready.
What? I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Schuyler? Did he freeze? Oh, no.
I think
there he is.
Broken before.
See, I missed it again. What'd he say?
He said that I think it was broken before him.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't hear you're freezing on my side. Who was before Kamara? Kamara signed right before him, I believe. Yeah, because I was 15 and then McCaffrey was 16. But again, we've been saying, look, McCaffrey's still cheap to me. Like, if you look at it like you're using him as much as a wide receiver as a running back, and the wide receivers are making $25 million.
Christian McCaffrey went through the 49ers last year and made them instantly a playoff team.
Yes, without question. And like, didn't Debo just go through this? Debo Samuel? Because I didn't see his name on that top 10 list. Did he sign? I don't know. I'll have to check.
I think that they got him as a receiver, right?
He might have been pitching for it because he saw the numbers. You know what I mean? Like, he might have been saying some. I think I remember something like that where he was like, "You need to sign me as if I'm a wide receiver, even though you're splitting me, with both." But then again, we are talking about some of the best running backs in the league. We're talking about like the top level, not like the mid-level guy or the guy at the very, very bottom. But I had seen, like Schuyler had said, a meme where it was saying that the average salary for a kicker is more than the average salary for a running back right now in the NFL. So that's crazy. Y'all gonna make all these kids not want to play running back. That's what's really gonna happen. They're not gonna want to play running back anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the era of like Jerome Bettis and
Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, and I mean, I'm a little bit older than I think both of you, but
those guys were a different animal. I think the expectation for the position was much different too. And I think we kind of saw that turn when the offensive game started to really turn to more of a passing style, to where the running back had to kind of be a weapon out of the backfield. So now with guys being asked to do more, I think the analytics, again, they're showing that they may be running more miles per year, or they may be putting more, hits on their body or whatever. But again, it comes down to how you manage your player too. And a lot of that falls on management, the head coach, offensive coordinator, and how, like Stu said, how you protect it.
Another thing I've noticed too, in terms of the way the NFL markets teams, like when I was a kid growing up, they market triplets. Like if a team had a quarterback, a wide receiver, and a running back, that's what you saw in the commercial. Like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin take on Steve Young, Jerry Rice, and yada, 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 49ers, Cowboy. Like, that was the marketing. Now it's like, if that quarterback has 2 wide receivers, it's that.
Yep.
It'll be Pat Mahomes plus this and that guy, So it's shifted. It's shifted a bit. Let me move on to a new segment that we're bringing out this season, season 4 on Bleav. We might be one of the longest running podcasts they've had. I think I was with them from the very beginning. Not many of them have been on for 4 seasons, so we're very grateful for that. But we're starting a Did You Know segment about the Panthers. Stu had brought this to us. Thought it was a great idea. So I'm going to let Stu go first because I'm not prepared for this segment. So Stu, did you know lesson number 1?
Lesson number 1. Everyone pay attention. Grab some notes. We have a segment called Did You Know? Okay. Did you know that including the playoffs, the Panthers have an overall record of 209 wins and 223 losses? One tie One tie.
Who can name the tie?
Who can name the tie? Schuyler.
Oh,
It wasn't even that long ago.
it wasn't. Was it like 2017?
Nah. Think about it. Playoff team. We was a playoff team with a
New
tie.
Orleans?
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Okay. I know. I remember when it happened now. Okay. Think about our records the past 8 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. NFC team.
Yep. No. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
No, it's not.
I don't know. Could it? Maybe.
So
Somebody
it was a AFC team.
Somebody popped it in the thing. I used to have a Price is Right one in there. I don't have it anymore.
It's Baltimore, but maybe. Whoa! Golly.
Look at the comments, bro.
It's in the comments. It's right there.
How do you look at the comments? I don't even know how you look at the dang comments.
Oh.
Sorry, y'all.
It's
Yeah,
a
hold on.
We from Virginia.
it's
Oh, the Bengals.
yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals. Matt knows nothing, but he knows the last time the Panthers tied, and it was Cincinnati 2014, the 7-8-1 season. So
Yeah, 2013, 37-37.
Yep. Nope,
Yeah.
couldn't stop anybody. Everybody just scoring all day.
Very odd game to watch. I actually didn't play in that game, but it was a very empty feeling, I guess you can say. But like not really sure. Like, dang, is this good or is it bad?
I was just about to ask you that because I hear that all the time from people that never played sports. Really, they're like, "I'd rather tie than to lose."
I remember hearing like JJ Jansen and like Luke, like kind of like explaining what a tie is gonna do, towards the end of the season if we rally and make a run for something, and how that would actually play into it. And so it actually benefited us that year, in a lot of ways.
Yep,
I've always been against the tie. Like to me, you play the game, someone's got to win.
Yeah,
I agree.
Tie just kind of leaves you just like, we just wasted 3 hours doing it. And we still don't know. Like,
where do I do good?
And now for the rest of the season, we're gonna be looking at the standings like, I don't even know what this means. Like, okay, we got a tie, but is that good? It's better than bad, but it's not good. So yeah, so Cincinnati, Carolina back in 2014. Thoughts on
good job, y'all.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did really, really good. It didn't take too long for them to pop that up in there. Give me some thoughts, you guys, on the NFC South outside of Carolina before we really dip into training camp starting tomorrow. Who's the one team that you feel like is a threat? Because I think the three of us feel like, well, I know me and Stu feel like we're gonna win the division. I haven't really specifically asked Schuyler yet.
Yeah, Schuyler is like the dang Grim Reaper.
We gonna get him there. If he ain't there, we'll get him there. But we feel pretty confident the Panthers have this division in hand. What team out of the other three are you looking at as the biggest threat to Carolina winning the NFC South?
I mean, if you're just looking at it on paper, it's New Orleans without a doubt. But I started to talk about this the other day, and I'm not saying that they're a threat. Because honestly, I think they're going to have a crap season. But this is just me speaking out loud here. If you look at the defense that they have and the playmakers that they have on offense, if they can just get average play, which is asking a lot from who they have at the position.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be a little better than everybody thinks they're going to be. And I know we saw Baker last year up front. I know we saw him last year in LA, and he looked a lot better in LA than he did in Carolina. And he's going to have the best pieces around him that he's probably ever had in his entire career at receiver, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the running backs that they have. I mean, that's a team that I think could probably, if they get hot early, it could snowball into something. But I'm not willing to bet my money on it. I would probably say New Orleans is the team to beat.
Stu?
I'm right there with you. New Orleans got Carr back there slinging it. So I just hope J.C. Horn, comes back healthy with the same energy as last year. Because he got disrespected on Madden ratings. But
Oh gosh, yeah.
Man, look, the whole team really like.
To me, I think J.C. Horn, like we're gonna be naming him possibly a contender for Defensive Player of the Year next year.
Look up Bryce Young's Madden ratings real quick because I was like, what in the hell is going on with this? Like, it don't even the math ain't happening like what they did. He got a 74 overall, but I'm looking through some. Okay, we'll get to it in just a second. For me, I was gonna say the Saints, then I saw a stat. The Saints are the oldest team in the division, like by average. Like their average age is like 28 or something like that. That's for a whole NFL roster. It's kind of old compared to like say the Panthers, who I think they might be the second youngest team in the league. So Father Time's undefeated. So I feel like some of these guys on the Saints defense. What's the dude?
Cam Jordan.
Cam Jordan.
Yeah, Cam Jordan. Some of those dudes, they're eventually going to slow down. We already start seeing injuries from Kamara. Wide receiver can't stay on the field. Michael Thomas past 2 years. Yeah, so they've had those glitches, and then I'm still not sure about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen has a losing record as a head coach, like overall. Like he hasn't had a winning season, I don't think, as a head coach. So that says a lot to me.
You can even make a case for Atlanta, and if Desmond Ridder is decent, they have arguably one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL. Really good offensive line. They have some weapons. So it's like if Bijan Robinson is what he was at the college level in the NFL.
Yeah. Top 10 running back pick where the team's going to be all like, we don't know what you're talking about in like 4 years. Like,
I just hope that the Carolina Panthers go into this season with the understanding that they're actually probably the best defense they're definitely the best defense going into NFC South.
Yeah. So I want to see Evero like scheme.
That's the energy that we need.
Yeah. I would say Atlanta and Tampa just have too big of an issue at quarterback. Did you guys get a chance to watch the quarterback miniseries that was on Netflix? That Peyton Manning.
I got 2 more left.
You got 2 more left. All I'll say is I have a newfound respect for Kirk Cousins after watching it. Like, I think we've kind of used him as a joke here and there and stuff, but to be honest, the dude just plays ball. He just balls out. And I've completely forgot how good Minnesota was last year. Until I started watching. I'm like, dang, I completely forgot that they were like.
I had a Super Bowl team.
You did. And I think the whole time I was like, no, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. But like in the end, watching some of that series and seeing him behind the scenes and basically watching him deal with, being a quarterback.
Yeah, I actually think that's going to help him, man. Like I was watching that, and a guy like him, hearing all the critics and then seeing that show, I'm just kind of like thinking to myself, man, he bared a lot of joking. He bared a lot of criticism. And this is what his day-to-day life is like. And this is how he is. So like for him, he's probably looking at this show like, finally guys get to actually see what it's like to be me. Mm-hmm. And like I'm just out here really trying my hardest.
And he's a wholesome guy.
Yeah, at least now that's out of it. If that was ever a thing that could be in his brain or in his mind, that's out of there now.
Yeah. But, they're saying Cousins was on the hot seat, going into this season or whatever. And after watching this, I'm like, is he? Because like after what I just saw, that's kind of the prototypical quarterback I want. I want that guy, the guy that's going to get you the ball when you need it. He's pretty even keeled. At
this point, if you get rid of him, whoever getting rid of him, we gotta look at you like, hey, something wrong with
you. What you doing? Let Dalvin go. Now you letting Kirk go too. Like I'm surprised you let him go. So we'll let Schuyler catch up on those. But it was great. It's if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Peyton Manning's production company produced it. It really felt like Hard Knocks, but just focusing on the quarterbacks, which was awesome. Like
If you look
making that bread,
yeah.
If you look at his stats, he's like one of the most efficient quarterbacks, like almost ever.
Yeah.
It's
He really
incredible.
is.
Like he's the Chris Paul of the NFL. He is that good. Never had a ring.
That is a good comparison. That is a very good comparison. And I was going to also say I have a newfound respect for Pat Mahomes' wife, because the media again kind of painted her as being this like annoying, like tag along type person. I didn't catch that at all watching this miniseries when you really get to watch them behind the scenes or whatever. So like that kind of stuff. And I brought all this up because of Marcus Mariota being on there. Is he still with the Falcons, or is he a free agent, or what's his deal? Like
Philly.
Okay. So we ain't gonna worry about him in the NFC South, because I forgot he was the quarterback for the Falcons last year. We had so much going on with us that it made me kind of forget some of the stuff that happened around us in the neighborhood. Our house was on fire. Everybody else was kind of watching it like from the neighborhood, but they had stuff going on in their house too. So the NFC South is going to be wild. I saw somebody's predictions, like I mentioned on Twitter, for records. And I think they had one division, I think the AFC North, where every team had won 10 games or something in it. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen. But they just completely poo-pooed the NFC South. Like, just like, I think the winner was 9-8. And like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we were all like grouped together. And they had the Panthers at 7-10. And I'm sitting there looking at it like this with my arms crossed, like, we went 7-10 last year, right? Like when we tried to mess up everything, like, we went, we tried. We traded off our best players. We fired a coach mid-season. Like, we didn't throw the ball a couple games. Like, we were trying, and we were 7-10 then. We revamped the coaching staff. We do the offense, and we're only going to win 7 games in this division. Like, it just showed me.
We really didn't throw the ball a couple games.
We didn't throw the ball a couple games. Like, seriously,
I'm going to tell you why we mad.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind how people are like, oh, Panthers 7 wins. They'll get maybe 6, maybe 7. We did that last year. And we're better. We're a better roster, a better coaching staff. I just don't see anybody can look at this coaching staff by itself and be like, oh, that team, they're only going to win 6 games. Like,
since I got to Bleav pays me to be the realist here.
Here we go.
Schuyler, shut up.
Here we go. Oh, Lord.
But no, like, I think this team wins more than 7 games.
I got around 10 or 11.
I mean, I'm sure at some point we'll do our season prediction, but let's just think about it like this from the outsider's perspective. First-year head coach, a lot of new pieces on offense, and a rookie quarterback starting from day one. I don't care how good Bryce Young is going to end up being. He's going to hit a little bit of a wall at some point this season. It happens to every quarterback.
True.
So how much does it take, or how long does it take for
That's
Bryce?
why we have a great defense, and that's why our schedule is set up for success.
And a run game.
We back to back. NFC.
What you just said. If they can navigate that first month of the season and keep their head above water, they're gonna have a shot to make a run. But if they come out of that thing kind of like gasping for air, then it could be a little trouble.
Do you think who do you think starts? You think it's going to be Bryce week 1?
Oh,
yeah. I think we'll cross that bridge. Okay. Because another thing too, looking at our quarterback situation, we probably have the best backup quarterback in the division too, in Andy Dalton, right? Like looking at the other situations.
If you think about it, like Andy Dalton could start at any of the other 3 plays. Well, probably the Atlanta and Tampa Bay. You wouldn't start New Orleans, but
over Derek Carr. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, man, they just come on. Listen, whatever pressing the feelings you got about Derek Carr, we can talk about that later.
No, Derek Carr's just never really done it for me. Like, I mean, he hasn't won a playoff game. Hasn't Andy Dalton won a playoff game? Didn't he win a game in Cincinnati?
Oh yeah, he's won a handful.
See, he's got that experience, the red rifle, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I might.
Is that what you call the red rifle?
Yeah.
Man, that's a dope name.
That's his name, man. Andy Dalton, the red rifle. Out there throwing. He was the one throwing the Chad Ochocinco and
TJ Husmanzada.
Yeah, Husmanzada. TJ Husmanzada. So yeah, we'll see. We'll get deeper into the NFC South when we get closer to the regular season. I did want to touch on before we got out of here the Ring of Honor, or what's the official name for it? I keep calling it the Ring of Honor. Is it the Hall of Honor? Ring of Honor?
Ring of
I
Honor?
think dang.
Ring of something. Whatever the Panthers thing is, the that.
Balls are in it.
Moose and Pep got into it this past season, or this past off season, and I wanted to bring it to everyone in terms of who should be next. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna nominate my guy Jay Stu. Jay Stu should be in that ring. You're the all-time leading rusher in Panthers history. Matter of fact, I was gonna pull this up because I want to see how far away. Like, who's gonna catch that? Is anybody gonna catch that anytime soon? Because with C-Mac and with C-Mac gone, I'm trying to figure out who can
next year.
Let's see who so Stu is sitting at 7,318 rushing yards. I got it right here. Let's see here.
What did D'Angelo finish with?
He's currently second. So here, I'm about to try to pull it up. Technology. There we go. So Stu is sitting at number 1, 7,318. D'Angelo's at 6,846. Cam Newton is third, 4,806. That's incredible.
Man,
for a
Cam
quarterback
Newton
to be
got Hall of Fame.
That's insane.
If
Then you
Cam
start,
Newton is not in the Hall of Fame, there's a problem with the Hall of Fame.
I mean, wow, that's crazy. Like Cam Newton needs to be on that ring, but of course he hasn't officially retired yet. I think that's why they haven't really. That's why there's no pictures of him in the building or anything like that. He's still an active NFL player. Then you just start getting into these other guys. C-Mac was still far away. Actually, he was probably about a 1,000-yard clip. He plays about 4 or 5 years away. So he was still kind of far away. There's no active Panther on this list.
Biaka Budika.
Say that again.
Nah, man. Listen,
That's not
over here, listen, don't be looking up that man's name. If you can't say it, don't say it. Just say Tim.
Biaka Batuka.
Just say Tim.
Yo, Tim Biaka Batuka was nasty. Like when he played, that dude was a menace. He was a problem. He had all the juke moves you needed. He had power. We just couldn't stay on the field. That's early Panthers, like early beginning. Him, Kerry Collins.
Nick Goings, man. Nick Goings was a lifesaver for me.
Utility guy. Dude.
Man, he taught me that playbook so good. Him and Hoove, man. I'd be in the meetings, dozing off.
Brad.
Skip be like, hey, Stu, who you got on this pass pro? And I'll just hear Hoove say, Will, you got the will. I say, oh, I got the will. All right, stay awake.
Good job, Stu. But no, I want to nominate. We're going to officially start the campaign today. Bleav in Carolina Panthers to get our man Jonathan Stewart, Jay Stu, in this ring. Like, there's no reason for this to not occur. Like,
nah, man. Whatever happens, man. It's just an honor in general just to be able to play with these two guys, man. Musa Muhammad, like. The way they both of them, if you look at it, like they were just so different in the way they carried themselves in the locker room on game day. I mean, I remember Moose used to come to practices dressed up in suits, and basically because he was, playing football and doing business on the side, like balancing those two things while putting up these types of numbers in the NFL, it's crazy, man. You see a lot of guys move that way at this level where they're playing ball, they're getting into business. But back in the day, they didn't have the cell phone activity that we have to make things happen so quick, in that world. But yeah, man, Moose, the way he blocked, man, he just took everything right, man. Like him coming off the ball with his 2 hands up, just like ready to just grab someone. Him and Smitty played like that. And then you got Pep, man, like a once in a lifetime talent, like just gifted, but just also smart. So smart in how he played, just understood the game, quiet, but and just all about business. I just love the way they both approached the game. In my rookie year, that was definitely something that I noticed, and you know, congrats.
Well deserved for both guys. I'm glad from Moose, I think the year, because he'd been there a couple years already, but the year I really noticed him and started looking at him as like a to-go-to guy was the year 2007. Smitty got hurt week 1 against Green Bay. It was a Monday Night Football game. It was right after Smith had won the Triple Crown in 06, led the league in receptions, touchdowns, and yards, and terrorized the Bears in that playoff game by himself. That was the year where we just basically ran out of running backs, getting to the NFC Championship game in Seattle, the Seahawks. We lost to a Seattle team that went on to the Super Bowl. The next year, everybody was kind of picking Carolina, from what they did the year before. Smitty breaks his leg in that Green Bay game. And I remember the Panthers went on like a 7-game losing streak or something nuts, like early in the year. So they dug a huge hole. They're like 1-7 or something like that. And then Jake Delhomme and Moose Muhammad and a cast of others just kind of, they started plucking away, winning these games. And they got to the point towards the end of the season where they were right there in playoff contention. Like if they had won and a couple things that happened, they would have slid in. And I promise you, nobody wanted to see them. Like they were one of those teams where it was like, nah, we don't want to see them because we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they know what they're going to do. And it's like, I don't want to see that in December. They can run the ball. The wide receivers are tough. And that was when I really recognized Moose for what he was. I hated it when he left to go to Chicago. Same thing with Pep. Pep left to go to Chicago and then ultimately Green Bay and then came back home. And with Pep, man, I'm a Tar Heel fan. So I saw him in college playing basketball. For the Tar, he was in the Final Four with Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, and these boys. He's playing as a walk-on on a Final Four Carolina basketball team, and he's over here doing all this crazy stuff on the football field. And he might be one of the most freakish athletes that I can think of. Like, he's not Bo Jackson level, but he's somewhere. He's somewhere in that vicinity.
He might be Bo Jackson level.
Have you ever seen him do something where you're just like, did you see that?
Yeah. Like it just, how things like just look a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
Like because he's so large. Like that's what it might look like from afar, but he's actually moving very, very fast and very elusive. Like it's a nightmare trying to, being a running back. Oh man, I gotta chip this guy on the edge.
Oh, good luck, buddy.
Like, I remember when we played them when Green Bay came here. Like I was just like, man, I hope Pep realizes who's in the backfield. Maybe show me some love, a couple of plays, and not try to punish me. I ain't really trying to punish him.
Jordan Gross was on the radio talking about this, how he had to go against Pep every day in practice.
Oh man,
man,
terrifying, especially when he had that visor on.
Yeah, you can't see his face. You don't know where he's going. He said he had like some kind of move where it was some kind of spin or something that it would just leave you like this, and next thing you know, Pep's 2 steps behind you, and you're like, dude, you. First ballot, man. He got to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like we were talking about that the other day.
Like this is just the beginning, man, of celebrating him, of getting his flowers.
I think he's 4th overall in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. Like in the history, of the NFL. Like think about that for a minute. He's up there with Reggie White and Bruce Smith, and you know what I mean. Like that's a list.
When you get a guy that a defensive coordinator has to plan, or offensive coordinator has to plan for, in the sense of, hey, we need at least 3 guys on this guy throughout the series of the play. At all at once. We just need levels because
it turns. Man, I'm happy for them. Like I said, I do want to start the petition. Is there anybody else out there you feel like needs to be on there that's not? Because I need to I need to go see who's actually on this. I'm calling it right. The Panthers Ring of Panthers Ring of Honor. Hall of Honor.
Steve Smith,
Sam Mills, Jordan Gross.
Gross.
Let's see.
Bleav eventually.
Yeah, Luke's going to get in there probably. Actually, I was surprised he wasn't in this batch, to be honest. Wait, is this it? Jake Delhomme, Jordan Gross, Mike McCormick, Sam Mills, Steve Smith, Wesley Walls, and yeah, that's it. And then the ones that just went in.
I don't know if the Panthers do it the same way as the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but if they do, it would be 5 years, I think, after they retire is when they would become eligible. So if they do it that way, Luke's not even eligible yet.
Yeah, that's true. They did in 2019. They put in Smitty, Jake Delhomme, Jordan Gross, and Wesley Walls. So they did that in 2019. Then COVID 2020. And is this the first time they put somebody? Yeah, it's the first time they put somebody in the hall since 2019. So I don't know what that is. If there's some sort of well, they hadn't put anybody in since '98. Before that, Sam Mills went in then. That's I don't know the rhyme or reason to how they do this. It's not an annual thing.
We got to think too. There was ownership change there for
a
little bit.
Huh. So yeah, that's
more active about it, which is it's cool, man. Because I think it's like guys get their roses. You know what I'm saying? I think that's important. Just like guys should be getting their contracts. Right?
See how that came full circle? See how we did that?
Yeah, don't forget. All right.
Pay them boys. Pay them. Bam. I did. Stu, Cam, Luke, Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis sitting in this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Davis needs to be in this thing.
Khalil.
Ryan Khalil. Fuck, I'm missing somebody. But that would be the first ones I would think of need to go in next.
John Casey's in the comments.
Yeah. I'm over my anger with John Casey. It's
a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
We need you to.
I look at it in a different light now. It's not emotional
or something. All right.
This might be just a long shot.
Take care of your mentals.
About JJ Jansen when he's retired.
JJ Jansen.
There's not another player that's played more games, and
Yeah.
never come anywhere close to JJ Jansen's record.
How many games has he? How many years has he been with us?
Oh,
Jansen can do until his 22nd year.
Oh my gosh!
It's not his 22nd year, but I'm saying he can go and do this for his.
I was like, wow.
He was like his 15th season.
Oh man, was he on the 03 Super Bowl team?
16?
It'd be close. So he came in like 05 or something like that?
He came in the same year I did. Oh, wait.
Oh, so yeah. I mean,
right?
I thought Casey had the record for most games or whatever, but yeah, I can see that. I'd give a shout out to Ron Rivera. I'd put Ron Rivera in the hall. He's the only coach in Panthers history that's won 3 division titles. He took him to a Super Bowl. He was league coach of the year, if I'm not mistaken, when he was here.
Yeah, whenever he retires, that's got to be an instant, automatic situation.
You think? That's a loaded question. Is he the best coach to date in Panthers history?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No maybe it wasn't that loaded. Him and John Fox are. I'm kind of like, but like,
listen,
Fox never won the 3 division titles, and Rivera did. Rivera had a league MVP, a defensive player of the year under his watch. He was coach of the year. I don't think John Fox ever won coach of the year.
I don't think so.
So yeah, that's Rivera.
You ain't got to prove it to me.
It's Riverboat Ron, and
Fox was a great coach. It's just that's what Ron came in and really made the Panthers like recognizable. I mean,
he did. He kind of made that happen.
Cam, you know what I'm saying? Like, but to be able to like manage that and get us in that position, playoffs is hard to get in. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah. And look at some of the holes that he dug out of, like to get them, you guys in the playoffs. There was some of those seasons where it wasn't looking good in November. And that was the one thing I remember about Ron Rivera here. For some reason, he got hot in December. Like you guys would start just winning. Like you always knew with a Ron Rivera team, they weren't going to end on a low. They were going to be ascending. Wherever they started, they were going to be going up by the time they got to the end of the year. And then it was just a matter of, how up did they get as they went to whatever playoff situation they were going into. But
Ron had the formula, and he knew how to, keep the formula around, which was pay the running backs and play defense.
You know what? That's big facts because the running backs got paid under Ron Rivera. Like both of them, they both got paid. So that worked out. They went to the Super Bowl. They were a perennial favorite for the most part while Rivera was here. Edward Moore puts out, he won 3 division titles, an NFC title, a Super Bowl appearance, 2-time coach of the year. That's right. He won in 2012 or 2013 too, I believe, and 2015. He earned it. So he's the coach we go in.
That all-time rushing list. Look at the guys that Rivera coached on that list.
Ooh. Hold on. Let me go back here. You know what? I didn't even think about that. That's Here we go. Technology. Here we go. So Stu, D-Will, Cam, McCaffrey.
He's got 4 of the top 5.
4 of the top 5. Damn. I wonder what he was about. That man liked to run the football. I think, Stu, I think your mic is muted. Somehow, yeah, there you
go. I was saying a lot of good stuff too. But all I was saying was run the ball.
Yeah.
Defense. And pay the running backs.
It's never going to get old. Run the football, stop the run. If you can do that, no matter the level of football, you're going to probably win more games than you lose. And
if you have a really good running back, you're going to be able to run the ball for more yards. So
control the clock.
You have Jacobs, you have a Saquon Barkley. Don't take it for granted. You're paying them because they're great players. And you got to make sure that you protect them the best that you can, which is practice management, like wear and tear. All those types of things go into play management. So if you have a dog and you know you got a dog, pay him.
Pay him. If you don't, somebody gonna, and it might as well be you. You're the one that found him. Don't let him go because you're scared to spend money. Scared money don't make money. The teams that win in the NFL, look at Philly the past couple of years and what they've done. They're just constantly reloading and putting people in place and just paying money for prime talent, and it's paid off. They just won the Super Bowl last year. So you got to spend. You got to spend to be considered one of those teams. You can't just kind of skimp along and put a 6th-round running back there and expect them to get 1,500 yards. It just, nah. It just don't work that way. That's a good place to stop, though, for the day. Training camp opens tomorrow. Real quick, Schuyler, you're actually in Spartanburg. You're not in Spartanburg, are you, Stu? You're not down there? No. Okay, so Schuyler, real quick before we get out of here, what's the one thing you're going to be looking for tomorrow? One main thing you're going to kind of keep your eye trained on when you're out on the hot fields of Wofford College?
Well, obviously Bryce, so I'll leave that to the side because we all know that. I'm probably going to say the cornerback depth. And I know that everyone's looking at the pass rush because obviously they need to probably add another body there too. But you got to see what they got behind JC and Dante because right now it's a big question mark. I mean, CJ Henderson 1 minute can look like he is the 1st-round pick that he was, and then the next minute he looks like a guy that, probably should be on a practice squad somewhere.
That's not trying to measure your words. You're like,
CJ Henderson. He's got potential.
Sheesh.
No.
He's got potential, but he's got to put it together. And maybe this is the defense that helps him do that and forms a nice 3-headed monster there at corner. I don't know, maybe not. But I think they need to figure out what that depth looks like at corner.
Hey, Schuyler, I got a question for you. If I were a fan going to training camp, you go to these practices, training camps, basketball camps, games. How would a person go about it to really gain value out of going to a training camp? Do you go and focus on one group for that day, or 2 groups, or 1 guy or 2 guys, so you can actually see everything that person's doing? Are you studying these guys? What are you doing?
That's a great question.
So, if I were a fan, I would take it all in. And take it all in. I guess if you're going throughout the whole week, probably could break it up and look at each position each day. Since I'm there watching the whole team, I'm pretty much all over the place watching. So I'm watching everything, every little drill that we can see, because some of the drills are on the clear other side of the field, and I can't really see that far away. But if I'm a fan, I'm going and taking everything in day by day, looking at different groups, watching position groups. If I'm a kid growing up, say I'm like 7, 8-year-old kid that wants to be an NFL player one day, I'm getting as close as I can, because there's certain spots on the field where you can get real up close to drills. If you go to the back end of the field, and you're going to be there this week, go to the end where there is a white tent all the way to the left side, that's where I'll be standing, where the media is at. They'll have red zone drills there. They'll be doing some offensive line and defensive line stuff there. A lot of good stuff that you can hear. Also, that's the main important thing, I think, for if kids are wanting to go and pick things up. Now, be careful of the language, but there's a true value in not just watching it, but hearing the coaches and the players communicate what is going on throughout the drill. There's a lot that you can learn from that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So if you're looking for where to go in Spartanburg and training camp and trying to figure out the best place to go to absorb some stuff, Schuyler just hit you right there. So we'll get through a week of training camp and be back with you next week, probably Tuesday. I think that's what we've kind of settled on right now for our preseason, and probably on Tuesday. Don't know if it'll be in the morning or in the evening. We'll give you an update on that. Just follow us at Bleav Networks. You can pound that like button over on the YouTube channel for Tobacco Road Sports Radio, youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio, where you can catch the video of this each week. The audio form of this is on the Bleav Podcast Network. You can find that on all major podcast platforms. We are out of here, so we'll be back next week. We'll have some news from you from the first week of training camp down at Wofford, see how everybody's looking, and kind of chop it up from there. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Spread the word. We're back. Episode 3 will be next week. So for Jonathan Stewart and for Schuyler Callihan, I'm Desmond Johnson. You've been listening and watching the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast here on the Bleav Podcast Networks. Keep pounding.